I wanted to play through this game real quick. I don't have much time to analyze it or anything like that, but I just played this brutal game. I won, but I suffered an incredible attack here. So I'm just going to kind of play through it real raw and look at the moves. I don't have much time. I got to go to work, but just wanted to get it out there real quick. D4, E6, normal, Queen's Gambit. Now, of course, that's abnormal. Guy's bringing his queen out pretty soon. So I just continue to develop. It looks, this guy breaks a lot of development principles, but almost wins this game. So I'm just developing. Everything's setting up kind of normal here. His queen's awkwardly placed. Normal. That looks a little passive to me. Normal. Obviously, that looks kind of weird. He's bringing out these kingside pawns pretty quick, but this really does turn into a vicious attack. I castle. Brings out his knight. Nothing unusual there. Normal development by me. Looks pretty normal for him. Still nothing crazy yet. I put my queen there. In retrospect, I think before I make this queen move, I'm going to start playing A3 to keep this knight at bay. The whole purpose of this queen move is I'm trying to control the E4 square. I want to advance my E4 pawn. But here comes this knight. It really kind of jams me up. I need to move my queen. I wouldn't mind putting it on B3, but I can't because my light squared bishop's kind of hanging there. I got to make sure I protect it. The only way to do that is to play this awkward looking move. He takes my bishop. That move comes back to haunt me. So now my queen's in this weird place. Still doesn't look too bad. Everything's still normal. Still I'm thinking about advancing this, this E pawn to E4. And, here comes this awkward looking G4 advance early in the game. So really this is kind of good because my knight's in a pickle. There's not too many spaces it can go to. And no matter where it goes, it's going to get in some trouble. That looks like a good spot, but it can be easily driven away by that move. And I knew that was coming, and there's really nowhere to go, so I take this pawn. I foresaw this. I knew this was going to happen. So now I'm really not looking too good, but it's not too bad. It's early in the game, and I still got a pretty good setup, and he's poorly developed. So I make this pawn advance that that I wanted to make. And he makes that move, which is looks kind of weird, but really, it's pretty forceful. It's right there against my king. It's a pretty scary looking move. And I'm trying to block up the center because I can see this attack coming. And so the center's locked up. I'm liking the looks of that. I try to get my rook into play because I'd like to push my c pawn. And he plays queen to f6, threatening queen captures f2, which would be, pretty ugly. So I defend against that by f3. And he plays this little sacrifice here. He sacrifices his knight. Guess he didn't really have much of an option. So I take the knight, and I get checked. I get out of the way, and then so now's when the trouble starts. This queen's right up in my face here, and obviously threatened mate. The only way, well, I should have played queen to f1, but I don't want to analyze the game. I'll just show what I played here. I played this move to defend it. And so now you can see the attack's really coming here. I try to get his queen away, and he backs up. But I would have settled for a draw here. I should have just kept playing this series of moves, but I didn't. I started pushing forward. I like the idea of that because now it at least gives me a check. I could play queen to b5 check. But I put my knight there, kind of wanting to play knight capture c7 check. So that makes his king move. That's pretty good. And then I'm trying to open up some lines here to, I'd like him to take my pawn. That way I've got the rook also looking at c7, but he doesn't take it. He plays that bishop move. I can't take the bishop because he can just play queen captures queen. So I leave it sit there, defend that square. And, he makes another threat. I don't like this move, but I don't have much of a choice. Now he takes my pawn, and I don't like it. So I back my knight up. I just got a terrible looking position here. And here comes this bishop. It's headed for b5, and I know it. So I put my knight up here so I can block it on the next move. It's about my only option. And here comes the h pawn. Trying to get the queen out of my face again. Check. I kind of like that move. I'm just trying to lessen the attack here. Got the king moving. That's a good sign. Trying to open up some lines. I'm trying to mount a comeback here, but I'm still, you know, my king is just flapping in the breeze. Now we're kind of getting somewhere. Well, here comes this pawn again. This guy's got me worried. So I guard that squares. You know, I don't know. I really don't think he should have played that move. This turned out to be the loser because I take his queen. I mean, I lose a rook, but now he's without a queen, and I've got a little bit of an attack coming. He backs up. Check. Check. And mate. So really suffered through a hell of an attack there. I'd like to go back and analyze that with the computer and stuff later, but I thought for sure I was beating that game. And that's all, folks. Let me bring down my thing.